A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thought. He loses touch with reality. A good servant, but a bad master, and lives in a world of illusion. And all so-called civilized people have increasingly become crazy and self-destructive.
Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
And let's talk horror.
So today we're doing our verses on Carrie, 1976 versus 2013.
These both are, I feel, very influential movies because they are very, very similar, but they are also very, very different. Now, this was one of my mother's absolute favorite horror movies, so I really want to do justice to this movie. So let's get right into talking about the original. So obviously, Carrie 1976 is a very, very important film, not just to me and you, but in the history of cinema. So do you want to get started talking about some of our favorite things from it?
Yeah, so let's talk about when Carrie is trying to explain to her mom, like, I'm funny. I'm not like you. Like, boys like me. And she throws her coffee in her face. It's so heartbreaking, like, when you think about it, like, a mom's supposed to be, like, supportive.
That's the one place you're always supposed to feel safe.
Yes, is with your mother and at home, and she doesn't even get that at home.
Mm-hmm. And something I do like about the original is, obviously we know how it ends with Carrie and Tommy being elected prom king and queen. And in the original, we actually see them, collecting all the ballots, hiding the real ballots underneath of the table, so that way they can plant the fake ballots. We don't get that in the remake. And I like that in the original. We get this tiny little bit of storytelling visually. No words are said, but you get this visual storytelling of what's happening with the ballots ahead of time. Obviously, nobody is going to vote for Carrie.
Right.
So for them to do the setup, it had to go perfectly.
Which, you're like, you just know in your mind, like, you know what's going to happen, and it, like, breaks your heart.
Yeah.
So what about this?
How do you know? Did you ever put on a tuxedo?
I don't have a tuxedo body.
Ruffles piece. You always gotta make a joke, right? No, I just don't like ruffles.
Like, no, they have tuxedos here for you.
So it's one of those moments where, what was the point?
I know, it doesn't make any sense, and it looks so silly.
It does. If you're going to do a montage like this, drop the audio, whatever you got to do. Just don't make it look this silly.
Yeah.
We also have a point where something that would never happen today, the teacher finally gets fed up with Chris and just bitch smacks her. Like, obviously she's a kid, she's a teenager. You got to keep that in mind. But man, she's a bitch. To see the teacher just go that far.
You're just like, yes, way to go, teach.
Smack the shit out of her.
Yeah,
I loved it to death.
For sure. So let's talk about Tommy and Carrie's kiss. So they actually kiss in the OG. They do not in the remake. And again, like, she has this night of her dreams that she's never had, and she gets a kiss from the boy of her dreams. So, it's like so heartwarming, but you know what's gonna, about to happen.
In the back of your mind, you don't know, like, is Tommy really in on it?
Yeah, exactly.
I never believed it, because it's William Katt, better known as Roger Cobb from House. But, when you're watching this moment, like, you are so happy in this moment. You know it's about to go south. But in this moment, you are super, super happy.
Well, because she's happy for once. She gets bullied at home. She gets bullied at school. And someone's finally being nice to her.
And when did they put Mario from the Mario Brothers in their class?
Yahoo! Yippee! Waha!
I mean, I'm just saying. That was not tampered with. That was exactly how we saw it in the movie. So it's nice to see Mario was doing good for himself back in 1976, finishing high school.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the dizzy dancing. They spin around that dance floor for like 20 minutes, it feels like. It's insane. I would have been dizzy at that point.
Thank God this movie wasn't in 3D.
Right.
Because I would have been throwing up all over the place. Now, as you know of my love of the dark and the wicked, cutting carrots is something that freaks me out. And this mom really pulls no punches when she goes to cutting her carrots. And I've just never seen anybody cut carrots quite as violently as I have in Carrie 1976.
Well, speaking of mom, I mean, she just loses it. I mean, she's always been a little crazy, but she just loses it.
At the end, it's just a really sad thing to see. And one last thing we want to show you guys.
Well, he said that she's young enough so that she'll forget all about it in time.
I just want to point out, she's not a baby. She's a senior. She's young. She'll forget. How is she going to forget a massacre at her prom?
Yeah, all my friends are dead, and you know
That was a lifetime ago.
she'll forget.
So obviously there's a lot that we love about the original, and it's a movie that I think has stood the test of time. It always gives you that good argument of, is Carrie justified in what she does?
Yeah.
But before we could talk about that, let's talk about some of the things that we like about the remake. Now, we do know that there was a Carrie remake done for TV in 2002. That is not the one we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be focusing on the theatrical release in 2013, starring Chloe Grace Moretz as Carrie. So, would you like to get us started, my love?
Yeah, so we have to talk about how mom is actually giving birth in bed, you know, at home.
An at-home birth.
Yeah, to Carrie. And I mean, she's like screaming and like saying, "Get this evil out of me," and like it doesn't sound like she wants this baby.
Right. And Julianne Moore is just fantastic.
Julianne Moore is a goddess.
Yeah,
for
she's
sure.
really, really good. And what's sad is right after this, you see her grab that pair of scissors and she goes to stab Carrie. And we don't know if it's, you know, Carrie's telepathy or if it's just her mom getting an ounce of conscience in her.
Yeah.
She decides not to do it. And she stares at her daughter almost longingly at this point, almost like she is in love with this baby at this point, which is super cool. So you do have that ounce of humanism in her.
I think she does love her. She just doesn't know how to love her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's talk about how Chris shows her boyfriend Billy what they did to Carrie on the phone. Like, I mean, even his reaction was like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you?
And it's so disgusting. You know, like, we'll talk about this more in the verses, but you know, in 1976, it would be hard enough for a young lady that doesn't know what's happening to her body to go through her first period and have everybody laughing at her, let alone having it videotaped and showed to other people around. So that's one that's really, really hard to watch. Another thing that's hard to watch for me is when you see Jesus bleeding in the prayer closet. Anything that has to do with Jesus or exorcisms or anything like that is scary to me. That's something that terrifies me. Growing up very, very Christian, things like that were burned into my skull that this is scary. You know, and that's something that even to this day, as a 37-year-old man, it really freaks me out to see this type of thing. So that's a scene that really, really got me in this movie.
It's just like a sacred, you know, so you just like don't want to mess
talked
with
about
that.
comfort. You know, you're supposed to feel safe when you're at home. For me, I was always raised that Jesus Christ is safety.
Right.
That's your safety. That's your Lord. So that's the way that I was raised. If that's not something you believe, I don't want to push that right now, but that's something that I was taught. So when I see things like that, it scares me.
So not only did she show her boyfriend the video, she uploaded it for the entire world to see. They even put it on like a dating site, and it's so horrible. Like, why do girls have to be mean?
Favorite drink, Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Favorite song, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. It's just, it's too much, man.
Yeah. And it makes you hate her. Like, she does her job, but it makes you hate her.
And it's one of those things where there are really shitty people like that. So
Yeah.
that's why it makes you hate her so much. Now let's talk about, you do get the scene where we actually see Carrie practicing her telepathy and just how excited she is about it. And, you know, we're watching her move this stuff across the room. Great visual effects in a movie that doesn't have a ton of great visual effects. There's a lot of really bad CGI. This is one that didn't really bother me in the film.
Yeah. So let's talk about mom. We kind of get a little backstory on her, like where she works and things like that. She actually works at a laundry.
Yeah, and she's also like a tailor.
Yes.
Really quickly, trigger warning.
This is a trigger warning.
Self-harm.
Yes.
If self-harm bothers you, if you suffer from anything with self-harm, please reach out to somebody. Self-harm is never okay. If you need a way to get through it, there are places and people that can help you. We wanted to throw out a self-harm trigger warning here.
Yeah, so mom is talking to the girls as moms that are coming in and bringing in the dresses to be, you know, tailored or whatever have you. And she's like, you know, you're the reason my daughter is the way she is, or, you know, you did that to my daughter, something along the lines of that. And she's actually like cutting her leg the entire time she's talking to this woman. And it's just like, it's so sad. Like, this is how she deals with stress.
Right. She can't deal with it, so she's taking it out on herself physically.
Yeah.
And again, there are places and people that can help you. So if you know anybody suffering from self-harm or you yourself have a problem with it, please reach out. Nothing is ever worth hurting yourself. So please reach out, get help. There are people that will help you. Now we're talking about, you know, her uploading the video and showing her boyfriend. She even takes it a step farther and they play it at the prom. So everybody at the prom is singing, plug it up, plug it up. You know, and obviously Carrie is just destroyed. She's devastated. She's having the night of her life with someone that is genuinely Tommy, trying to be nice and kind and
give
sweet
her a
to
good
her.
night, and then this happens, and it's like, I'm not supposed to have a good life ever.
Right.
It's really sad. How about
It's a girl. What? I don't know. Oh my God.
So obviously, you know, her telepathy goes farther than just moving things. She can see things that other people can't. And this was a scene where you're watching, you're like, oh man, well, you're lucky that you got on her good side.
Yeah.
You know, it's a girl. Like, it's such a beautiful moment. So obviously, we're going to have a whole lot more to talk about with the versus aspect. But these are some of the things we liked from the original. And now some of the things we liked from the remake. So let's get right into what we want to face off about the two of them. All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about things that are exactly similar. And it was really hard to come up with a lot because a lot of things here are just beat by beat.
Yeah, it's very, very much so beat by beat.
So we did come up with some things, and so we're going to talk about those right now. And we got to go with the obvious, Carrie herself. Which portrayal of Carrie do you like more, Sissy Spacek or Chloe Grace Moretz?
I have to go with the OG, with Sissy Spacek. Like, I just feel like she nails that awkward, you know, I'm not popular type. She just nails that role, and I think she does phenomenal.
So I am also going to go with the original on this one, but I got a caveat here. Sissy Spacek looks the part. Chloe Grace Moretz does not. She's, you know, and I'm not saying anything bad about Sissy. Sissy is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But we've seen Chloe in all these other movies where she's the beautiful, popular girl.
Yeah.
And I've always talked so much shit about this movie because of it. But then on a rewatch, I'm like, you know, she did a great job.
She
you know,
did.
Credit where it's due. Chloe Grace Moretz, she does give you that portrayal of a girl that is scared and lonely and awkward, but you just can't top Sissy for me. That'd be like somebody else being cast to play Ash in The Evil Dead.
I was just gonna say that.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that is going to be Bruce Campbell forever. And I don't care how great the next person is. You're not going to live up to that expectation.
You're never going to top it.
Chloe was giving an impossible task, and she still did a fucking phenomenal job at it. So, another thing, in the OG, they're kind of bullying Carrie. They walk by, they just hit her with the hat, you know, just being bitches to her. And then in the remake, they kind of have that moment where they're playing volleyball in the pool, and she serves the ball and hits Chris, and they all start laughing, and she thinks that they're laughing with her, but it turns out they're laughing at her. They're not laughing at Chris with Chloe or Carrie.
Yeah.
They're laughing at Carrie. You know, you stupid bitch, you can't even hit the ball right. Which one of those do you feel like was more effective for you?
I'm gonna go with the original on that one. They actually like hit her with the hat. I know it probably didn't hurt her, but still like they're still bullying her, and it still makes you feel.
Right. See, I'm actually gonna go with the remake on this one because she has that split second where she feels like she has someone on her side, where she feels like they're laughing with her, and then she just gets broken down even harder.
Yeah.
You know, they're laughing at her. Now, obviously, we got to talk about the shower scene. In the original, you have, you know, plug it up. She's scared. And then in the remake, you have the same thing, but they're videotaping it on their phones. Mm-hmm. So which one are you going to go with on that?
I'm going to go with the remake on that one just because it hits more home to nowadays with the technology and all that, and how you can't escape even when you go home, you know, because it's all over the internet. And so I feel like it is more with the times now. So the remake.
I'm also going to go with the remake. I think the original is heartbreaking.
It is.
But I think that this scene alone sealed the green light for the remake. Mm-hmm. We could take that shower scene and we can add technology into it and make her life even more miserable. So I feel like if you were pitching this movie to a studio, this would have been your selling point.
Yeah.
We can take what they did amazing in that OG one, but we can make it even scarier for young ladies that are around now. Or young men, you know, embarrassing things happen in the locker room to young men too, and the same thing happens to them. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Carrie's aggression. In the original, you see her in the principal's office, and she gets really angry, and you see the ashtray break. You know, she breaks that ashtray and flips it. And then in the remake, the water cooler explodes. You know, it's bubbling. Which one do you feel is more effective for you?
The ashtray in the original, just how it breaks, you know, and she flips it over, and they're just looking at it like, what the hell just happened? Yeah.
I'm going to go with the original as well because a water cooler could have had a malfunction.
True.
An ashtray doesn't have a malfunction. This is
No.
obviously something crazy is going on here. So we also have two scenes that are very, very different, but very similar as well. You have Carrie at home breaking the mirror, and then at school you have her breaking the mirror and then picking it back up. And, you know, which one do you prefer out of the two?
I have to go with the original on this one. It's more practical, and yeah, I like it better.
I'm 100% going with the original on this one as well, just for the same reason. It's a practical effect. The CGI does not age well on that remake one, so I'm definitely going to go with that. Now, one part I want to talk about is the poem, which becomes a big part of the movie. In the original, you have, you know, Carrie likes his poem and she is infatuated with him. But in the remake, he's the one that likes her poem. You know, and the teacher's even laughing and he's flirting with some of the girls, you know, and Tommy's like, dickhead.
Yeah.
You know, like he's pissed off at the teacher for the way he's acting. Even the teacher is being an asshole to Carrie.
Right.
So which one was more effective for you?
I have to go with the remake on this one. I do like how, I feel like that's kind of how he wants to go after her, you know, because he sees the kind of person she is through her writing. So yeah, and he sticks up for her and that makes her feel kind of good.
I am also going to go with the remake for pretty much the same reason, but I'm also going to add to that. This is where we really get the idea that Tommy's a good dude. This isn't a thing where he just wants to, for Sue, you know, he doesn't want to just do this for Sue. He really is a nice guy, and he really does want to make Carrie feel good. Even before anything else happens with the prom and all that, he feels bad for her, and he realizes that it's fucked up the way that everybody treats her.
Yeah.
Now, in the original, when we get, you know, Carrie getting her anger, she makes her mom sit down.
Yes.
You know, sit down, mama. But then in the remake, you know, she shuts the mom's mouth, and then she pushes her back and locks her in the closet. Which one of those did you like more?
I like the remake more just because, I mean, she just shuts her in there and it's like she
Locks
like
the door.
you're gonna go in there, mom.
Yeah.
Like, not me.
I'm going to go with you. I like the remake on this one, and I like the way that Julianne Moore,
Yeah.
you know, her mouth is shut because she's not going to let her leave with Tommy. I'm going to shut your mouth. I'm going to lock you in the closet. When I leave, you can come out, mama. You know, she's letting her know, like, this is my day.
Right.
No one's going to ruin this for me. I finally have my moment. No one's going to take this away from me. Now let's talk about, obviously, the most iconic scene in the movie. The bucket of blood dumping, the bucket falling and killing him. The stupidest death of any movie ever. Roger Cobb ain't no bitch, and he wouldn't go out by a bucket hitting him on the head. But which one of those did you like more?
The original. I know that it's kind of cheesy, but brain damage, guys. Like, that was a heavy bucket full of blood.
How heavy was that bucket?
Really heavy, okay? It knocked him out and killed him.
I'm going to go with the remake, actually. I think that there's a little bit more of a suspense at this moment. And the fact that you have her back there doing it, and, you know, they're just so excited about what they're doing in the remake. And I feel like the bucket looks a little harder in the remake. And I don't got to watch my Roger Cobb go out like a bitch. So I'm going to go with the remake on this one. Now, let's talk about one of my personal favorite scenes from both of the films. Okay. And this is the chaos at the prom. Now, you have the OG, you know, the fire hose is going off, the electrocution, all that. And then in the remake, you have her just throwing everybody all across the gym. So which one did you like more?
The original. I love how you have that fire hose going all over the place. We watched them behind the scenes, and some of the actors got really hurt by that. Like, and it looks real because obviously it was real.
Yeah.
And I like the way it looks, so the original.
And I'm actually going to go with the remake. I like the original, but I like the fact that in the remake, it was all practical. They added some, you know, CGI here and there, but most of it was just people on harnesses getting pulled, like really getting pulled. And I think it looked really, really good. So this is one of the ones that could have gone either way for me because they both look really good and they were both done very well. But I'm actually going to go with the remake on this one. Now, a big one, obviously, the teacher. In the original, she lets her die. She's like, I don't care if you slap Chris, bitch, you done. And then in the remake, she saves her. So, you know, she picks her up, makes sure that she takes her over to safety. Which one do you prefer?
I do like that she saves her in the remake just because she's good to her. And, you know, that was the one person that she could actually, like, kind of feel safe with, you know, because she doesn't feel it with any of her peers, with her mother. So I'm glad that she saved her in the remake.
Right. Me too. I love the fact, I'm going to go with the remake on this one. I love the fact, you know, she picks her up, takes her over to safety, makes sure that she's okay. It's just a scene that the one person that's actually been there for her,
Right.
the one person that's helped her, she saved her. So I really do like that one a lot. Now, I think you guys know what I'm going to say before we even say it. In the remake, you have Carrie walking through the gym while it's on fire, with the fire going around her and Sissy Spacek walking. Or in the remake, you have the CGI Carrie floating across the gym. Which one did you prefer?
The OG, the firewalk. It looks so badass. I love that so much.
I'm going to go with you. I like the firewalk. I think the firewalk is so cool. I go with the original on this one too. Sissy Spacek has never looked more badass than she does in this moment. So I'm 100% going to go with that. Now let's talk about the car accident. Like, obviously in this moment, you have her trying to drive up in the original, and Sissy turns around and looks at her, and then the car starts flipping and does its thing.
You get that dramatic music.
Or in the remake, you have them face to face, and Carrie stops the car and holds the car in place before she lets go, and the car goes into the fire, into the gas station to cause the big fire. Which one did you prefer of the two?
The original. I love how dramatic it is.
When her face,
when she looks and it's like, you know, like that dramatic music. I just love that.
Yeah.
So the original.
See, I'm actually going to go with the remake on this one. I love, you know, how they're face to face.
Yeah.
Drive, and then she just holds her.
And she's like struggling almost. Yeah, that is pretty cool.
I do love it. I love that scene. So let's talk about Chris's death. Now, in the original, the car is flipping, like I said, and it blows up and it kills her in it. In the remake, Carrie lets her go and her face goes into the windshield. And you see her still in the windshield when Carrie walks up and looks at her, and then it all blows up with the gas station. Which one did you prefer of the two?
Even though it does look really cool, her face in the glass in the remake, I have to go with the OG, like fast, like get it over with, blow her up. Yeah.
See, you already know me. I'm going to go with the remake on this one. I really like to watch her get it. As mean as that sounds. I know she's a teenage girl and she's cruel. Who knows? But Carrie's my girl. And to watch her actually, you know, unleash on her and let her get it, I love that moment in the remake. So I am going to go with the remake on this one. Now let's talk about the ending. In the original, you have, Sue's character go back to the house and her hand pops up in one of the infamous jump scares, which turns out to be a dream. Or in the remake, you have her go to the grave and she's putting the flower on the grave. Then you hear a scream and the grave cracks open. So of the two, which one did you enjoy more?
The hand popping up. Like, I feel like that's way more effective, way more creepier. Yeah. The OG.
I'm also going to the original on this one. I think that it's one of the most talked about jump scares of all time. You know, you have that sweet music playing. You think it's over. You know, you got this. You got Friday the 13th with Jason coming out of the water. Those ending jump scares. And I think that Jason was heavily influenced. Friday the 13th was heavily influenced by this jump scare in Carrie. And let's have real quick, because the version that we watched the alternate ending where you see Sue giving birth and it's a hand that ends up coming out. And it's one of the most ridiculous things.
Good thing you didn't go with that one.
Yeah, it's one of the most ridiculous endings I've ever seen. So usually I champion, alternate endings. But in this one, I was like, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
So it's one of those ones where, good thing you went with what you did.
Right.
But it wasn't the arm coming out of the ground. So for those of you keeping track at home, that gives me a score of 5 for the original and 10 for the remake.
And I have 12 for the original and 3 for the remake.
Now, like I've always said, the points really don't matter. Those are just scenes and stuff that we love. It doesn't talk about the whole continuity of the movie, and this is one of those examples, because between the two, I am going to go with the original as my favorite. I think that Sissy's portrayal is just so heartbreaking. I think a lot of the acting, and again, these are very hard to choose from because they're so close But the remake, obviously the remake wouldn't exist without the original, but there was very, very little original ideas in the remake besides the technology updates. You know, it was a lot of, let's just do this, let's just do this, let's just do this, let's make it exactly like the original. And for those of you that know me know, that's not what I look for in a remake. When I see a remake, I want you to do something, take that original idea and make it your own. This one didn't do enough of that for me to justify picking it over the original. That's how much the original means to me. So I'm going to go with the original as my favorite of the two.
So for me, the points do matter because I'm going to go with the original also. It's iconic.
Yeah.
Like you said, Sissy Spacek, like she just nails the role of Carrie. She does an amazing job. She's awkward and, you know, you really, really feel for her.
She was born to play this role.
She absolutely was. Even I do think that Chloe did a great job. And she knew the assignment. Like she definitely did.
Yeah.
But she's no sissy.
And the thing is, though, I want to say this too real quick. Chloe Grace Moretz did not go into this role saying, I'm going to go and act like Sissy Spacek.
No.
I'm going to play Sissy Spacek. Yeah, she went in and she played Chloe Grace Moretz's Carrie. That's a hard thing to do when you have someone that's already iconically nailed that character. So for her to come in and not say, I'm going to be Chloe, or I'm going to be Sissy Spacek's Carrie. No. She went in, she made Carrie her own character in the film. So you got to give mad props and mad respect to Chloe Grace Moretz for being able to nail such an impossible role.
Yeah.
So good for her.
For sure. And just some of the scenes, like in the original, it haunts you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have to go with the original.
Right. So I do want to say, guys, thank you so much for watching, and sound off in the comments. Which one do you like more, the original or the remake? What did you think of Chloe Grace Moretz's Carrie? If you haven't already, guys, like, subscribe, and follow us on all our social media links so you can stay up to date on everything that we have coming up in the future. Until next time, I'm Ken Sledge.
And I'm Ashley Sledge.
Keep talking horror,
Stay who you are.
and we'll see you guys soon.